Hi, I'm Patrick, and welcome to NEIC, or New England Information Center. We're going to be talking about the New England colonies. Everyone is talking about something different. I hope you guys like this.
First up, we have Robert comparing buildings then and now.
Thanks, Matthew. Hey everyone, Rob here. Have you ever wondered how much our country has changed? Well, I'll be telling you about what is least thought about. Our structures, such as homes, workplaces, and our way of making products, factories. Back then, nobody spent their time making it look nice. They didn't use brick or concrete. They didn't even have windows. They used what was around, and that had to be wood, grass, clay, dirt, water, and reeds. And I'm going to tell you how they built a general house. First, they used the wood for a foundation in the inside of the walls. Next, they used grass and reeds to clump up and use them as a roof. Talk about roof leaks. Well, lastly, they used the clay, dirt, grass, water, and water to make a soft but solid material called daub. They smushed the daub around the in and outside walls and let it harden and dry. Hey, how many colors would it take to make the inside able to live in? 1, because they didn't use time to make furniture and only made room for the vitals. And that had to be a small kitchen area, place for sleeping, a bar churn, and a laundry area. And put this inside only one crowded room. Also, I wish you the best of luck getting comfy in a bed, because they slept on the cold, hard, disgusting ground. Yeah, it really stinks in my opinion. And that's how you build a colonist house. Some other buildings consist of a mill, blacksmith shop, cooper, general store, shoemaker, town hall, and other colonist houses. The differences with present houses are pretty big. We use concrete, metals, glass, wool, and brick. And we don't have blacksmiths or coopers. Our shoemaker shops, general store, mills, and businesses are much larger. Not only that, but average houses consist of 5 rooms, and foundations are made of stone. Big difference, will you agree? You should be happy about how much easier doing things are now that we're this advanced. But what do you think? Do you like the old style of roughness and toughness, or do you like having tech to help? I would say tech, or else I wouldn't be talking to you right now. So send me your answer of what you think. Go to www.neic.org/building/robert.compare-contrast and send your answer. Here are the results after I asked 100 people this question on a simple pie chart. Okay, I have a call coming in from a fan with a question, and I've said too much. So back to you, Matt and Pat.
I never knew buildings changed so much.
Next up, we have Mike talking about the economy in the New England colonies.
Thank you, Patrick. Hi, I'm Mike, and today I will be telling you about the New England colonial economy. Have you ever wondered about the New England colonial economy? Well, that's what I'm here for. Well, even though they had bad weather, they did have very good sea life. And since people couldn't farm due to the rocky soil and cold climate, they had to trade with other colonies to make money. And the items that they traded so they could make money were furs, fish, and timber, and also timber and timber products. Well, I'm actually kind of glad that I wasn't a colonist back then, because that life of hard trading and you must not have been able to farm must have been a very, very hard time for colonists. And it also must have been fun to go fishing and build boats. And it also must have been fun to build boats and go fishing in lakes and streams. So that was all for today on economy. This is Mike from NEIC. And, before I go, I would like to ask you, all the viewers, a question. The question is, would you rather live the lifestyle of the New England colonists back then, or would you rather live the lifestyle all you viewers are living today? So, I guess I'll end the story here and say, see all you viewers tomorrow. And also you can tweet us the answer at hashtag NEIC economy. But please don't tweet us the answer. Seriously, don't tweet us the answer. Well, I guess I'll now say back to you, Patrick and Matt, in the NEIC station.
Wow, that was really cool.
Never knew they only traded.
Well, next we have Jackson talking about transportation.
Hi, Jess here. Have you ever thought how different transportation was in the olden days compared to transportation today? Did you know that transportation today uses all different types of engines and motors and are made from metals or titanium? Recent research says that the most usual transportation device was boats. Boats were so important because the New England colonies were on the coast of the Atlantic Ocean. The boats, so they needed ships, mostly because they needed to trade with other colonies, but they mostly needed they also needed to fish and hunt whales. That is all from Justin at NEIC. Back to you guys.
Wow, that is very mind-blowing.
I hope there would be Lamborghinis.
Me too, but next we have Matt doing the Salem witch trial.
Thank you, Patrick. Have you ever seen someone do something weird? Well, a couple hundred years ago, that person would be punished. This is all because of the Salem witch trials. A couple hundred years ago in Salem, Massachusetts, you'd be punished if you did something weird. An example would be like saying weird words that could be mistaken for a spell or a curse. If someone was accused of witchcraft, they'd be put in a series of trials. Then, if found guilty, they would be put to death by being hanged or burned. If they lived, then they were a witch. If they died, then they weren't a witch. Luckily, there aren't any witch trials now, or else you or I might not be here. Just as a comment, if people were burned or hanged for being a witch, wouldn't they be able to do a spell to get out? What do you think? Tweet me at NEIC Matt with hashtag witch trials. Well, back to you, Patrick.
Wow, good thing I didn't live back then.
Yeah. Well, it's Chris's turn.
Thanks, Matt. Hi, I'm Chris, and today I will be telling you about the diseases in the New England colonies. The colonists weren't very healthy back then, since they didn't have the medicine that we have today. They also didn't have immunizations. They also didn't have the diseases the colonists had, and I will be telling you about are diphtheria, measles, and smallpox. Diphtheria is a serious infection of the nose and throat that's easily preventable by a vaccine. Measles are a viral infection that's serious for small children but is easily preventable by a vaccine. Smallpox are an eradicated virus that used to be contagious, disfiguring, and often deadly. Here's a fact. Diphtheria, measles, and smallpox used to kill the colonists. Well, I have a question for you. Would you rather live in 1777 with all the diseases or live in 2015 without all the diseases? Tweet us your answer at NEIC Health in the New England Colonies. Well, I hope you learned something today. Back to you, Matt and Pat, in the New England studio.
Wow, that was very informational.
Yeah, I didn't know diphtheria was so dangerous back then.
Well, next we have Sydney talking about Roger Williams.
Thank you, Patrick. My name is Sydney, and I would like to talk about Roger Williams. When he was young, much of his education had to do with religion. When he was a teenager, he spent a lot of time with smart people, like lawyers and people who were leaders in the government. He went to college and learned many languages. After college, he became a chaplain and worked for a wealthy family. He married a woman named Mary Barnard. He thought it was a good idea to travel with his wife Mary in 1631 to the Massachusetts Bay Colony to start a new life, because other leaders didn't like him there. He got a job as a minister in Salem, Massachusetts. He believed that people should have freedom to believe in anything they wanted without getting punished. After that, he got kicked out of Massachusetts because everywhere he went, he was considered a troublemaker. He and a few other people escaped and lived with the Native Americans. Later in 1636, he started a town in Rhode Island he called Providence. He called it Providence because he thought that God provided the place for them. Back to you, Matt.
Wow, that was really cool.
Yeah, I agree. Next we have Anthony talking about animals.
Thank you, Patrick. I have an important message to tell you viewers about the well-being of our land. The colonists are here in New England with their sheep and cattle. These animals are eating most of the green grass and shrubs in the area. To give some more grazing land for their animals, the colonists have been cutting down many of the beautiful trees and shrubs and that protect the land from the hot sun. They have also drained many of the ponds to provide more land for their animals. We are now left with dried-up land with no grass, no trees for shade, and no place for wild ducks to live. The land is susceptible to flooding, erosion, and drought. Is the result from the empty ponds. If anybody has a solution to this problem, please tweet me at NEIC #ColonistInteractions. Back to you in the NEIC studio.
Wow, that was so interesting.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Well, last is Patrick talking about the land.
Thank you, Matt. Hi, my name is Patrick, and I'm going to tell you about the terrible land in New England. Have you wondered about the land in New England? First, the soil was thin, rocky, and very hard. Also, the climate made growing crops difficult because of the long, harsh winters. So what they traded were fish, furs, and timber. It was difficult to find large plots of land that could be used for crops. These are two main reasons people in New England seldom became serious farmers. New England was covered with trees. People in New England used trees to build ships. The ships were used to fish or to hunt whales. Native Americans enjoyed competitions of all kinds. One particular favorite was lacrosse. The lacrosse stick is long with a net at the end. The net is used to catch, then fling the ball into a certain goal. The New England settlers learned this game from the American Indians. It's still popular today, especially in Canada. I would tell you more about popular sports, but I have to go. Back to you, Matt.
Wow, that was really cool.
Well, this is our ending. Hope you guys like this.
This was NEIC, where we talked about colonies.
Hi, I'm Laura. Hi, I'm Abby. And welcome to DCSC, or Daron's Class Southern Colonies. Today we will be having a special guest help us teach you about the Southern Colonies, which is South School's Assistant Principal, Mrs. Honeywell. We will also be having a cooking segment
and an important story about the dangers of smoking. First up, we will be having Kendall's interview with Mrs. Honeywell.
Thank you, Laura. Hi, I'm Kendall Wilson from DCSC. And when I grow up, I'm going to be a teacher. So today I'm going to teach you about colonial education. Helping me with this is Miss Honeywell, South Londonderry Elementary School's Assistant Principal.
Hello, thank you for joining me today, Miss Honeywell.
Well, I'm glad to be here.
Just a warning, these questions will be challenging.
Okay.
How many classrooms are in the school?
In the whole school, we have about, you mean rooms or actual homerooms? Classrooms. We have about 28 classrooms, and then we have offices, about 8 to 10 additional offices, and then we have our NPR, our gym, and the front office.
Could you imagine having a one-room schoolhouse? Why or why not?
Now with this school, I cannot, because we have 400 kids. I can't imagine having them all in the same place at the same time.
Do you think that our school relies on technology? If so, how are some ways we use technology?
I'm not sure that we rely on it, but we use it to support things that we're already doing. You know, with the classrooms, with the smart boards and the projectors, and we have all of these wonderful programs that we have different technology for.
According to a survey taken in Miss Daron's 5th grade class, more than half the class thought that we rely on technology in research and writing essays.
Oh, very cool.
What is your favorite subject? Why, and have you ever taught that subject?
Well, my favorite subject is music, and I did teach it. I taught it here at South School for 6 years.
How many pens and pencils do you think you buy for one school year?
That's a good question. Thousands. Yeah.
Do you have any advice for students hoping to be teachers when they grow up?
It's an amazing career. It's a wonderful choice. And just work hard, stay dedicated, and remember that your students always come first.
Is there anything you think South School can improve?
We are always working on our PBIS expectations, right? Being respectful, responsible, and safe. And I think making sure that we're an upstander and not encouraging the bully or laughing at the bully or anything like that. We are always taking that higher route. So we'll always have that to work on.
I agree. Where did you go to school? Where did you go to college? And what did you major in?
I went to school in Gorham, New Hampshire, way up north by Mount Washington. I went to college at Keene State, and I majored in music ed.
Tweet us your answers at #Southern Colonies Education. Thanks again, Miss Honeywell. Back to you, Abby, at the DCSC studio.
Wow, Kendall, I can't believe there are that many rooms in South School. And next, we have Laura with the cooking segment.
Thanks, Abby. Hi, I'm Laura, and today I'll be making rice. Back then in the southern colonies, they grew crops like tobacco, rice, and indigo. Well, I picked rice. The colonists use rice in many ways, but today I am only going to make white rice. First, you boil water with butter or margarine. After the water boils, you add the rice in. When that boils for 1 minute, you put it lower to a simmer. That is when you put any type of pepper you want to put in it, but I'm going to put in a red pepper. So you just cut the pepper like so and pop it in. After 30 minutes, it will be done. It is ready. It smells good. This is the final look. Thank you for cooking with me. Now back to you, Abby.
That smells really good.
Well, next we have Sarah with a report about animals.
Thank you, Laura. Hi, my name is Sarah, and today I'm going to be talking to you about the southern animals. In colonial times, they had deer, mosquitoes, and fish. People used deer fur as blankets and ate the meat. For the fish, the merchants sold the fish to the people in Jamestown. Though the mosquitoes did not serve them any purpose, all they did was give them deadly diseases, such as malaria, dengue, and yellow fever. Wow, that's bad. But today, we use the animals as pets. Well, some of them, like dogs, cats, birds, fish, frogs, turtles, gerbils, hamsters, snakes, lizards, and baby sharks. That is all I got for animals today, so let's get back to business. Now, animals back then, well, they were only used for eating, except for the mosquitoes. Those would hurt you if you do eat them. Okay, well, bye. I'm Sarah, and thank you for watching. Back to you, Laura. See you later.
Cool. I didn't know there was such a difference between animals now and animals back then. And now Abby's article about slavery.
Thanks, Laura. Hi, I'm Abby, and I'm going to talk to you about slavery in the southern colonies and how slaves were treated and used back then. Back then, in the southern colonies, some people had slaves. Slaves were mainly used for plantations. Since their cash crops were rice, tobacco, and indigo, the slaves were forced to harvest those crops. Slaves were abused whether they did a good job or not. Slaves could get whipped, beat, hanged, and burned. That's so scary. I feel really bad for those slaves. Anyway, slaves not get good housing either. They slept in wooden shacks with dirt floors, and if there was a crack in the wall, they would just put old rags in the wall. And if you didn't have enough wooden boards, they would just hang up dirty coats over the holes. That's crazy. I would be really cold at night. According to a website called Spartacus Educational, Jacob Stroyer, a former slave who was a preacher in Massachusetts and no longer alive, that houses were made for 2 slave families. If you were a slave, your clothing was not like today's clothing at all. Slaves would get 2 linen shirts, 2 pairs of pants, 1 jacket, a pair of shoes, a pair of socks, an overcoat, and a wool hat. Imagine yourself outside in the cold snow with only that. Slaves didn't get good food either. Slaves would usually receive a monthly allowance of cornmeal and salt herrings. Some slave owners would give their slaves a small piece of land in a chuck patch where they could grow vegetables if they were lucky. Now, would you want to be a slave? I know I wouldn't. Tweet us your answer at #SlaveryStinks. Thanks for watching my segment about slavery. Have a nice day. Back to you, Laura.
Wow, I'm glad I wasn't a slave.
Now here is Skylar with the story about Jamestown.
Thanks, Abby. Hi, I'm Skylar, and I'm going to be talking about Jamestown and what it was like there. The Virginia Company, which purpose was to establish settlements on the coast of North America, proposed to sail to the new land of Virginia in honor of Queen Elizabeth I. This began Jamestown on May 4, 1607, and became the first permanent British settlement in North America. I would not like being on a ship for a long time because I might get seasick. Also, the weather was horrible in Jamestown. Many people died because of it. There was also no clean water, swampy marshes, and lots of mosquitoes. I would die if I had to deal with that many mosquitoes. To learn more about Jamestown, Virginia, Google America's Library Jamestown or Genealogical Gleanings Jamestown. Thanks for watching. Back to you, Abby.
Sounds really cool. I didn't know any of that.
Next, we have an important story about the dangers of smoking by Emily.
Hi, I'm Emily, and I'm going to be talking about the danger of smoking. Oh, but before I get to that, did you know in the southern colony the main crop was tobacco? And tobacco has been around for at least 100 years. And nobody knew how dangerous tobacco was. But now people are doing news segments about it. Now let's get back to mine. Smoking is a very dangerous habit. Lots of children follow smoking after their mom or dad. The child assumes that it's okay because their parents do it. Well, I don't think it should ever be okay for anybody to smoke, young or old. It's not fair to the people around you. Have you ever heard about secondhand smoking? Secondhand smoking is when, well, say you're in an airplane and the person that is behind you just started smoking. You take a breath of fresh air and now you're coughing like crazy. Well, you kind of just inhaled some cigarette smoke. Now it's kind of like you're the one who was smoking. I found a website called Medical News Today, and just be honest, by the name you're pretty confident that they know what they are talking about. Don't you think so? The website told me that 100,000 Americans have died from smoking in just 1 year. Wow, that's a lot in just 1 year. According to the CDC, the Center of Disease Control, $92 billion are lost when there are smoking-related deaths. Breaking news! There is a new smoking device. Oh great, another thing Americans don't need. The smoking device makes it taste better when you smoke. That is drawing people to the product. Okay. So I'm being told to wrap it up. But before I go, I just wanted to show you an example of a cigarette, which contains tobacco, plus many other toxic ingredients. Back to you, Laura, in the DCSC studio.
Ew, I never want to go near someone who is smoking again.
Well, our last report is with Clayton. I think it's about economy.
Well, let's find out.
Thanks, Laura. Hi, my name is Clayton, and I'll be telling you about Southern economy today. Southern colony's economy depended on many things for it to be a good economy. Because of it being mostly agricultural, there are a lot of farms and plantations in the Southern colony. Another thing that the Southern colony depended on for their economy was materials for ships, such as wood. Trees grew well in the Southern colonies because of the climate. Another thing that the Southern colony depended on was trading with the local Indians for deer skins to sell back to Europe for money. Also, they grew a lot of crops that were sold for money. Some crops they sold for a profit were tobacco, rice, and indigo. And indigo was used to make dye. The downside to growing all these crops was that they required a great deal of work to harvest. Another downside to grow these crops that everything had to be sold to England and no one else. The last downside that England had to get Africans and make them into slaves. As you can see, even though there were a few downsides to the Southern colony's economy, it was good for them because they made a profit. I have to wrap this up now. Back to you, Abby.
Wow, I wonder if $1 was worth a lot of money back then.
Oh, sorry, I'm getting a call. Hi, Mom. No, I can't talk right now. Mom, I can't talk. Okay, I can talk about that. Okay. Record episodes 1, 2, and 5 of Elmo, okay? Now, no, don't let anyone... Cut to commercial.
You know I love my signs, so now I'm selling them to you. One sign for just $10. And if you call in the next 10 minutes, I need a special deal. How about you get colored paper for free? That sound good, Sarah?
Fine, but your price is way too low, Kendall.
All right, new price. One sign for just $50.
Still too low, but you're getting better.
Fine. $100 for one sign.
Wait, no.
Fine. $500.
Kendall, don't do that.
I guess the new price is $700.
I'm not kidding, Kendall, don't.
Okay, fine. This is my final offer. For one sign, you pay $1,000.
All right, good price, but still too high.
Okay, I agree. How about 2 signs for $20?
Yeah, sure, that sounds good.
But isn't that the same as 10 for 1?
Probably.
Whatevs. Just
buy the signs.
That concludes our show. See you next time on DCSC.
Okay, I'm here in the MCIG studios.
And I'm Melissa. Today the Middle Colony Information Group, or MCIG, will talk about Middle Colony life, animals, farms, housing, and famous leaders like William Penn.
We will learn about the Middle Colonies. Here goes Matthew with animals and their uses.
Thank you, Cam. Hello, I'm Matthew from MCIG. Have you ever thought how important animals were 400 years ago? Well, they were pretty important. They were used as transportation, but you'll learn more about that later from Sophia. According to World Book Online, the animal's fur was used for trading. Fur trade was one of the main reasons people wanted to live in the Middle Colonies. The colonists used the fur from many different types of animals, like beavers. Breaking news! Chickens and hens are all out of their pens and over the streets. Oh, wait, my mistake. I forgot that owners of chickens and hens let their chickens and hens out all day, but had to lock them into their pens at night, so no one would steal and eat them. Now we will get back to our regular programming. People got milk and meat from cows, meat from pigs, milk from goats, and a couple other pairs. People didn't have pets like I do. They usually had a farm filled with animals that the colonists worked with every day. That is what I have to say about animals in the Middle Colonies. Back to you, Alyssa.
Thank you. Now here's Ryan with information on the Middle Colonies towns.
Thanks, Alyssa. I'm Ryan from MCIG, and I'm talking about colonial housing and buildings. The colonial houses were made out of mud, straw, grass, and sometimes wood. Their houses were as big as a shed. Isn't that small? But that's not all. They had one room in a house. Imagine living like that. They had a building for a market, blacksmith, and many others. The market is usually the size of 2 sheds. Compare that to Market Basket. The blacksmith house was as big as a regular house. Just think of it. My house has 4 bedrooms, air conditioning and heating, ovens, microwaves, TVs, and many other things. They didn't have that stuff. Market Basket is 50 times the size of the markets back then. They didn't have Walmart or GameStop. Our houses aren't made out of grass, mud, straw, dirt, or anything like that. Well, that's all for today. See you tomorrow. Bye. Now back to you, Alyssa.
Really? Houses made out of mud?
That's disgusting. Yeah, that's disgusting. Hopefully Rebecca has something a little less disgusting for us.
Thanks, Cam. Hi, I'm Rebecca, and today I will talk about colony family life and their chores. Mothers would teach their daughters housework like cooking, cleaning, making things to use and sell, taking care of animals, and maintaining the fireplace, garden, and kitchen. These were very exhausting chores, and they were expected to do them. Women also, on top of everything, had to doctor and make clothes for their families. Even middle class or wealthy women had some of these chores, but had servants to help them. What do you think would happen if you had all of these chores? A man's job in the household was to provide the family with what they needed. Their son would help them on the farm, and the farm was about 50 to 150 acres. The colonial family had 7 to 8 children. In my opinion, 8 kids, I guess, is a big family, but probably has to do with the 8 kids in my family. And did you know that back then, people usually married at age 13 to 14? Picture marrying one of your classmates. And guess what? If you didn't get married before age 25, you'd be socially humiliated. I know, it'd be the end of the world. Thankfully, I'm pretty sure it's kind of illegal to marry at age 14 now. People back then also thought that education wasn't important for girls. Like they thought we were supposed to be dumb. I mean, when all the boys are learning advanced math, we girls are working our tails off. Now, personally, I think back then girls should have the same rights to our education. If you'd like to learn more about colonial people, Google websites like Colonial Family Life, The History of Education, or Colonial Woman at angelfire.com. Well, I'm all out of time, and I know how much you love listening to my ranting. This is Rebecca on MCIG. Back to you guys in the studio.
Wow, I can't believe that girls didn't get the same right to their education.
Yeah.
Well, here's Serena with colonial farming.
Now let's talk about farming in the middle colonies. In the middle colonies, it had rich soil and warm climate for crops to grow. The crops that the middle colonies grew are barley, oats, rye, corn, and the main crop, wheat. Wow, that's a lot of crops they grew. People call the middle colonies their breadbasket because the farmers there grew a massive amount of wheat. I wonder how much wheat they grew. There must have been a lot of farmers in the middle colonies since everybody called it their breadbasket. The middle colonies were able to farm more food than the New England colonies because they had a long growing season and rich soil. Since the middle colonies farmed a huge amount of food, they sold the crops to Europe and the other colonies. I bet the middle colonies can never get hungry. This is Serena on MCIG. Back to you, Alyssa.
Thank you.
That is a huge amount of wheat. Alyssa is now going to talk about the middle colony foods.
Thank you, Cam. Early colonists ate a lot of bread a day. They ate 1 pound of bread. Wow, that's a lot of bread. No wonder why the middle colony is called the bread basket. Oh, speaking of the bread basket, the middle colony is called the bread basket because they grew massive amounts of wheat. They turned that wheat into flour and that flour into bread, and then, they eat it. The middle also grew corn, fruit, barley, and rye. Did you know they ate corn, not popcorn? What? The middle, not like other colonies, has rich soil to farm with. The New England colony has rocky soil and they depended on fish. What would you like, fish or bread? Have you ever been sick of bread because your mother or father or you always packed it the whole week? Well, colonists ate it for breakfast, lunch, and sometimes dinner. Imagine how they felt about bread. That's all they sometimes ate. You know how your mother and or you go to Market Basket to get whole wheat or white bread? Well, colonists back then didn't have Market Basket. They had soil and they grew wheat and turned that wheat into flour and that flour into bread for free instead of $3.99. So if you don't want to go all the way to the market, then make some. Oh, and for the fish or bread choice, tweet us at MCIGfood or www.mcigfood.org. That's all for today. Back to you, Cam.
Yeah, you're making me hungry.
Just in, Cam is breaking news on William Penn.
Thanks, Alyssa. Hey, Cam here, and I have breaking news. William Penn, who was born on October 14th, 1644, in Tower Hill, London, England, founded the Pennsylvania colony. Today is 1681. Anyway, his family is Anglican, which had a strong naval tradition. After going to Christ Church, Oxford for a few years, he was then expelled from school. Wow, I mean, who would give land to a guy who was expelled from school? Before he knew it, he was on his way to Ireland because he was fighting with his dad. A few days ago, he got land which he wanted for religious freedom. from Charles II to repay a debt he owed to Penn's father. He married Julima Maria Springett. Penn had unlimited ruling power over the colonies, which he called Pennsylvania, which meant Penn's Woods. People came to the place looking for religious freedom and cheap land for houses. Many were Quakers. In 1667, Penn joined as a member of the Quaker faith, which is a type of religion. He was arrested several times for writing about Quakerism. He spent many years in jail, but he has been well known by native Indians for good trading. Well, that is all we know right now, but we are finding more out about him. Back to you, Alyssa.
Wow, William Penn did all that?
Yeah, it's crazy, all right. Well, Sophia has a story for us.
Thank you, Cam. Colonists back then traveled in many different ways. I will tell you if you want to listen. So, colonists traveled on foot wagons pulled by horses, people riding horses, and last but not least, by boat and ship. I asked people in my class what they liked the best to transport and if they were in the colonies. Walking, horses and or carriages. 6 people liked walking, 5 people liked horses, 3 people liked boats, and now for the tiebreaker, coming in at first place is horses with carriages or wagons. I also choose the second place is walking. What would you choose? What would you want to transport? And tweet us at MCIG Transportation. Now back to Alyssa in the MCIG studio.
Well, that's all we have today.
For more MCIG, go to www.mcigrocks.com or tweet us at #FunFacts on MCIG.
Oh, we already have an answer from Kirby Does MC. It says, do fun facts about the world. Okay, Kirby, we will do that. But for now, me and Alyssa say,
1, 2, 3. Bye-bye.